So welcome back, guys. Welcome to 1313. And you guys are going to love the overall progress I've done on this mock. There's a few things I would like to accomplish this episode. I noticed that there was this nice design of a Coruscant speeder designed by Bit on Rebreakable. I'll put a link in the description of that model that I'm going to make that I think will fit perfectly in 1313. Because I have this concept art photo, I'm pretty much going to recreate this one-to-one scale. And a few days ago, I was researching more concept art photos, and it kind of blew my mind because there's actually another perspective of that road, facing towards the strip club is on the corner. From that perspective, I kind of felt like my whole life was a lie because it was just seeing it from another perspective. That's the majority of ideas I want to accomplish. So let's go try to do that. Here's a quick look at the Airspeeder designed by Bit on Rebreakable. I must say, the overall quality of the ship is very nice. Nice studless effect on top, using those nice curves, and as well as nice tiles. Plenty of space for the interiors at a good 6 figures. There's also different color iterations you can do. There's purple and blue. I went for the dark blue because that's what I currently have in the most. And at the very bottom, I had most of the parts, but some of them are the incorrect color. Should be some dark bluish gray stripes going all the way through the bottom. But I just used what I currently had and substitute some pieces. And I'm missing one of these wedge plates on either side. The front looks very good. Flows with the current whale-like design that Coruscant has on its ships. And as we go to the side, a nice separation in between the two modules. A little bit of detailing underneath as well. If you go to the back, has some pretty nice engine details. I'm pretty satisfied with this overall mock. Good job designing this bit. And here's a quick little side-by-side comparison between Cad Bane's speeder, luxury speeder, and the Airspeeder to the right. As you guys can tell, I went with a dark bluish gray, mostly because it kind of flows with the overall design detail on 1313, as well as the speeder. A while ago I made some modifications at the very bottom, had more sleek designs, and here's a side-by-side showing off how narrow this one is. But the overall design is very more scrunched up, and these two ships actually complement each other very nicely. So I've been working on this corner section bar, and it's complete. I'm absolutely loving how it looks. It looks way better than I imagined. Made sure to add a lot of details, including some lights I'm going to show you guys in a little bit. Because the only section I wasn't complete on was the top left, and that actually took around 3 hours to do. Just those little panels, because it was pretty complicated to try to install those. And I made sure to include the roof section as well. So the nice thing about having a roof on the bar is that I'm getting some ideas what I can do up here. Because I was thinking of having a landing platform for maybe some speeders or something. Which would make sense because maybe VIP would land up here and make their way down here to see the special Dathomir tree no one's ever seen before. And as well as they can get drunk down here, go back upstairs and go straight across to the strip club. So a cool thing about this section, a while back I said this is going to be modular, and check this out. The whole bridge comes out. And you guys see actually underneath, there's some LED lights, so it's going to be emitting through the bottom. I thought it was a pretty simple method of just placing the little slot into the little square right there, and having the wires going throughout the bottom of it installed, connecting to the strip club. And here's the interior of the bar. As you can tell, some of the wires aren't fully installed, Most of them are on the top section, which looks really nice, but the ones coming down are kind of just lying there, not really doing anything. So I have to install a little separation between that. Let's turn on the lights. Something about having lights installed in a MOC just brings it to life so much. It's kind of astonishing, because you really imagine this is like people would actually use. And here's that Dathmere tree all lit up, which looks really nice as well. So I installed it all throughout the top of it, running around, and then sloping downwards all the way here, and then through the catwalk. Let's head off to the section where on the garage, I actually finished designing a portion of it and stud.io.
Okay, it's quiet now. And we drove all through the neighborhood, sitting in a car all day, trying to find a radio. And we wrapped both hands in tinfoil, pointed at the window frame, trying to find a radio. All up in my grandma's basement, sliding all the closet doors, trying to find a radio. And the homies say they heard a rap song, sounded like some folks they know, but we couldn't find a radio.
Hard to express when the world is listless. Hard when you're sure that the world is not. In between PM dawn and sunrise, wearing a suit like my school mascot. The Edison owl, not ahead in the crowd, could match my technique and impeccable style. Says a young Hassan in the mirror while tips saying rock, rock on. With my guy Stefan, who despite the specs saw himself doing things he would live to regret. Anyway, reciting off top the memory, burnt a little J up, my laugh was Gimli.
As you can tell, I've been continuing on this sidewalk all the way down, and I'm actually going to continue this going upwards, and there's actually a concept art photo of a slight incline, and then as well as like a Twilight stripper sitting on the side, so I kind of want to replicate that. But of course I put my own little twist on it, put some LED lights installed, and as well as I added some pretty cool greebling on the interior. Next to that, there's also like pretty cool sticker that came from like a sticker sheet that came out like last year or something like that. A rail system for like a train. And I also finished up this section where this actually is completely modular, so it looks really nice. So if you guys noticed in the beginning of the time-lapse, I was actually referencing this diagram I drew up of 1313. So the top section is pretty much a top-down view of 1313, showing off the garage, the street bar, gun shop I'm going to be adding right here. It's going to look really nice. But this is where it gets really interesting. The bottom section, that's pretty much what 1313 is going to be like. So that concept art photo, I'm actually going to recreate like almost 1-to-1 scale. As you can tell, each section of this is almost 2 scale. And if you guys can imagine, this is going to be all of that.
Except the kids, they so not interested. Implement new COINTELPRO's hooks, fit loops, copyrighted by Velcro. Whole sound change, though nobody wanna sell those. Call the intercom, y'all, this is my bell code. And we drove all through the neighborhood, sitting in a car all day, trying to find a radio. And we wrapped both hands in tinfoil, pointed at the window frame, trying to find a radio. All up in my grandma's basement, sliding all the closet doors, trying to find a radio. And the homies say they heard a rap song.
I'm pretty much speechless with this overall section. Like, I can't believe how well it came out, since a lot of this was actually months in planning. But I had that piece like lying around for pretty much a year, and I wanted to use it in 1313. I was just going through a different variety of bags and bins full of different things I built. And I was thinking of having just the alleyway going all the way back. I wanted to have a little bit more dynamic angles for different buildings that kind of float off to the distance. I must say, all the details and little greebles I put everywhere, including the dark bluish gray accent, was such an amazing idea. Pretty nice greebles off to the right. And if you guys can tell, the security droid that like views people entering a building, like on Jabba's palace, there's that big eye, and as well as in Mandalorian, there's that eye that watches them. So I really want to include that, but just a really nice detail throughout the whole thing. And it's actually pretty cool since right there in the dark crevice, actually include like some pair of eyes. I think that's probably the funniest Easter egg I've put in 1313. So here's a little functioning sliding door. There's also another cool Easter egg. If you guys actually look inside, there's a little NBA logo. That was on complete accident because I was using a panel piece on the reverse side, and so actually it was a printed piece. Happened to be a basketball hoop for some reason. So I just kind of kept that in 1313, just a cool homage to NBA, I guess. Yeah, this week's episode of 1313 is like insane with the amount of progress I've been doing. So, if you guys can tell, I've actually made a functional elevator. But I thought it was a really cool detail to add nice curvature slopes on each side. It looks very industrial, which I like a lot. So you just kind of rotate it, and it goes up like that. So imagine that going up like 5 or 6 stories. I found this method of having an elevator be functional probably the easiest. So what you do is just get a tread, then put on some gears, and then rotate it, and it looks like it's going up vertically, which looks really nice. And this is roughly the placement it's going to be. It's going to be a little bit more over to the left side, which is going to be really nice because like you'll enter through 1313 from all the way up here, and then you can go downwards and exit out through this section. And then there's a nice entrance right here. And of course, it looks like there's a ton more progress to do, which there is actually. It's probably going to be 3 or 4 months, and then until I'm finished with 1313. But I've realized that the best method of building is just focus on one section and put a ton of detail into it. I get very overwhelmed with looking at 1313 when it's all empty and blank, knowing what I have to do. So a lot easier method of tackling it is just one little section at a time. So what do you guys think about the episode? I was super astonished by the overall amount of progress I completed, and also the fact that I know what I'm going to make each week, because I was thinking maybe the whole overall section would take around 2 or 3 months, and then I'll be done with 1313. But that's everything this week I want to show you guys. Have a great day. See you next time.